The league champion has completely fallen apart and become a joke. Losing in the league and the Champions League, getting embarrassed by Crystal Palace, getting knocked out of the cup, bad results, terrible performances, locker room problems, and issues in front of the cameras. So the big question every year is, what's going on? This is the same team that won the league, with the same coach who won it, and they even spent an extra 500 million euros on some of the best players in Europe. Don't let the Aston Villa result fool you, because against Real Madrid and City, the crisis will continue, maybe even leading to the coach's dismissal. So before I tell you exactly what happened, don't forget that. Hit like and subscribe to be a member of the biggest channel on YouTube. Arnold, yeah, the one with defensive problems, wearing the Liverpool jersey during disasters that caused losses in many important matches, left and went to Real Madrid. That's Arnold. When he left, was supposed to make the fans happy because a big chunk of them didn't want him to stay due to those defensive issues. But in reality, it was a disaster. The problem was Arnold played a big role in moving the ball out. The long passes, linking up with Salah, and creating plays on wing. So you had number 10 playing on the right, and when his effect suddenly disappears after years of working together, what happened? But the story isn't just about Arnold, my friend. The thing is, Arnold's replacement did nothing. Frimpong has been out with injuries, and hasn't even played with the team to show his abilities or cover for Arnold's departure on the pitch. That's when Salah's performance got low, and the whole wing fell apart, both defensively and offensively. If you asked Arne Slot last summer what he wanted, he'd say, a right back, a left back, 2 center backs, a holding midfielder to compete with Gravenberg, and a striker, and if Nunez left, make it 2 strikers. But the question is, did that actually happen in the market? The right back brought in frimpong, and that's good. Okay. The left back brought in Krikis, also very good. 2 center backs? No. The Markway deal fell through, and that was supposed to be the most important defender signing for Giovanni Lyon. The deal that did go through was ACL, who's going to be out until almost the end of the season. So there's no real support for the center backs at all. That's the problem. Put a big circle around that. The backup defensive midfielder didn't come, but the playmaker Wirtz did arrive. As for the forwards, they did bring in 2, but that was pure stupidity. Look, the whole thing started with Ekitike, who cost about 90 million euros. And that's that. That's a huge number, and the kid has been playing really well since the first game of the season. But Liverpool decided to spend 150 million euros on Izak from Newcastle. So here's the question. Can any one of them just sit on the bench? Honestly, no. Okay, can they be rotated every game? Also no, my friend. So why bring both? Was that a mistake? More importantly, could they have signed an average striker as a backup and used the rest of the money to strengthen other weak positions? That wrong approach was a big problem for Slot because there are definitely spots on the field that are seriously lacking, and the players in those positions are playing poorly. The fear coming from the management. Any team that makes several signings in one transfer window usually can't get them all starting right away or playing in waves, right? Now imagine if this team already had a solid lineup that won the league last season. But Slot didn't do that and insisted on starting all the new signings from day one. That's what made them lose their first boost of confidence by dropping the Super Cup. But as the matches went on, it became clear something was off. The players weren't reading each other well. On top of that, some guys clearly needed more time to gel with the team. For example, Kirkes looked lost in a lot of games, not really understanding Liverpool's defensive setup or their pressing style, to the point that Slot. After this disaster goes back to Robertson. Wirtz also wasn't used to this kind of atmosphere and played weirdly. The only one who kept going was Ekitike. That mistake was a big error from the coach, my friend, who clearly lacks experience because he's never dealt with a market or spending like this in his short career, so he didn't handle it properly. Ernesto Valverde's saying is legendary in football. As long as it's working, don't mess with it. But Slot didn't listen to Ernesto and played, poorly. And don't get me wrong when I say Liverpool's midfield was actually one of their biggest strengths last season, was so intense that Gravenberch became one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, and McAllister was one of the best midfielders in the world. So Bosley made incredible physical sacrifices with their pressing and covering the spaces. But all that fell apart when they decided that Wirtz should start and sit out one of the three. With the midfield dropping off, Liverpool's structure lost its cohesion, and the team became easy to break down. The second season syndrome hit hard. Johan Cruyff once said something about football, that the second season is actually the hardest for a coach, not the first. Why, Mr. Cruyff? Because in the first season, it's easy for a coach to surprise opponents with a new style and get strong results at first, especially when the players are motivated to prove themselves to the new coach. But in the second season, the opponents study your tactics well and learn how to deal with your style, and the players themselves know who's going to play and who's out, so the job gets tougher. That's exactly what happened with Slot. The guy had a great first season, but from the start of the second season, he's completely lost. The team is struggling technically, and all the positive results from early on were just luck and good fortune in most games. Last season, Salah was on fire. He had an incredible season with everything: performance, goals, assists, you name it. He made a huge difference for Liverpool in the league, securing a lot of points and giving them a strong start to the season. He was Liverpool's biggest threat, so much so that Paris planned their entire game around stopping Salah, and they actually managed to do it. But this season, Salah isn't the same at all. It's like he's a completely different player. Lackluster performance, limited skills, and his fitness is at its worst. His impact on the team is poor too, whether it's missing chances or creating game-changing moments. This whole thing sparked a clash with Slot, who's just trying to find a scapegoat in the mess of results. And all they could blame was Salah's performance to cover up all the problems in the team. The clash continued with talk that Liverpool is already looking for a replacement for Salah, and Salah himself started thinking about leaving Liverpool. The story, my friend, is bad management. Wasting money on unnecessary signings and poor handling of the team by the coach. The result? The team that was the top contender for the league at the start of the season is now struggling just to qualify for the Champions League. That's it, my friend. Come on, let's discuss this in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss any updates. Peace, my friend.